Okay, so this is chiasmus, and at first it may sound like some crazy term that's super complex, but it's actually really easy to identify and implement into your writing. So what is chiasmus? The Oxford Dictionary defines chiasmus as a rhetorical or literary figure in which words, grammatical constructions, or concepts are repeated in reverse order in the same or a modified form. Now, for our purposes, we can simplify that definition by saying that it's just the repetition of ideas in a reverse sequence. And the image down below exemplifies that. So A, B, B, A just flips it. So here's an example. Poetry is the record of best and happiest moments of the happiest and best minds. So in this example, they're using the words best and happiest and flipping them, which as you can see below is using the X technique, which I will teach you in just a moment. The sentence reads best and happiest and then flips it to saying happiest and best. So now we can get into the functions of chiasmus. Chiasmus can give structure and poetic form in writing. It also makes the text more digestible and memorable. It displays inverted parallelism and it adds to the repetition that is often used in parallelism. And it also can be used as a humorous device. So as I mentioned earlier, there is a technique known as the X technique, and that is just writing the two clauses and drawing an X between the keywords. So let's practice this. This quote reads, "Love makes time pass, time makes love pass." So the first thing we want to do is identify where chiasmus is being used. So in this example, love and time are being flipped. So we can go love, time, and then it flips to time and love, which forms an X, so to speak. So now we can move on to some AP examples. This first example says, some have an idea that the reason we in this country discard things so readily is because we have so much. The facts are exactly opposite. The reason we have so much is simply because we discard things so readily. So first we want to identify any repetition of phrases or words, and in this example it says discard things so readily, and it also says so much. But in the second sentence it says so much before it says discard things so readily. So if we use the X technique, it would be discard things so readily, so much, and then in the second sentence, so much, discard things so readily. Now here's a more complex example. This one says, my heart burned with anguish and chilled was my body when I heard of his death. Now in this example, instead of just using words in reverse, this one is playing more with the structure. In this specific example, it says heart burned and chilled body. So that would be noun, verb, verb, noun, which we can see in this. So this is a good example of a more advanced way that chiasmus is used, especially on the AP exam. So it's good to know that it's not always just words. It can also be phrases or structures. So how to identify chiasmus in a text is super simple. First, you want to identify any crisscross or X patterns in the text. Once you've done that, ask if the sentence is displayed in an ordered manner. And following that, you will just want to identify exactly the chiasmus is being used and where. This will help you identify like the functions and the overall prose of the passage as well. So I guess my little trick to remember chiasmus is just to think X marks the spot with chiasmus. And the key word in this is X. Because if we go back to the X technique, that's one of the easiest ways to identify chiasmus. And X marks the spot's just a really simple and common phrase to remember. Hopefully this helped you get a better understanding of what chiasmus was, and now you can hopefully implement it into your writing as well.